I'm Sarita Lou, and welcome to For the Love of Dance. In today's episode, we're traveling to Brooklyn, New York, and a special place called Governor's Island to learn about jazz-age social dances, such as the Charleston and the Peabody. We're going to spend the afternoon with Roddy Caravella, a dancer, choreographer, and dance historian who grew up right here in Brooklyn, New York. And of course, we're going to do a lot of dancing. So come on. So, as far as we know, because we got to dance with you at the Jazz Age Long Party, I learned the Peabody from you. But I know that there's many, many other styles of dancing that you do.
I consider it historical, social jazz dance.
Yes.
Is what I dance, teach, choreograph, and perform. So social jazz dances that were done from, say, the teens, which was the ragtime era, which is when the Peabody was quite popular, along with foxtrot, of course. Through the 20s, when the youthful exuberance of the Charleston was taking place, and it really was the youthful exuberance. And then it became more popularized in ballroom studios because they wanted to teach everybody in Charleston. Throughout the swing era of the 30s, when the big bands were more prevalent, and so the dance was Lindy Hop, which is the grandfather of all the swing dances.
What is it about that era that's so peppy?
It was a time, first of all, when jazz was the popular music of the era. Think about that. Jazz was the popular music of the era. It will never happen again. It'll never happen again. Everyone listened to popular music that was jazz-based. Unlike some of the stricter disciplines of dance, like ballroom and, say, for example, ballet, where the discipline is very particular. Jazz dancers don't have to be, because they can be improvisational, as jazz music is improvisational. And that's why they show a great exuberance of freedom in the dance. So Lindy Hoppers can look 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 different ways. They don't all look the same. Everybody brings to the table their own personal stylings and musicality to it.
Tell me a little bit about Frankie Manning. I know he has passed, but he just had a 100th birthday celebration. He would have been 100 this year.
He was a very kind man, a very humble man for all that he had done around the world. You know, he stopped dancing. Then sometime in the 50s, he stopped dancing and went to work for the post office.
Oh, wow.
As a letter carrier. He told me he used to go out social dancing with his friends. They would go out to places and hear bands play. But he wasn't back in the Lindy Hop world teaching until sometime in the middle of the 1980s.
Okay.
And what happened is the first revival of Lindy Hop and swing dancing took place in the early to mid 1980s here in New York.
Here we are at the Jazz Age Lawn Party on Governor's Island, and it feels like we've stepped back in time. Today we're here to learn from Roddy the Peabody, a jaunty, light, and sweet dance from the 1920s. Come join us. Tell us about how you got in touch with Governor's Island.
Michael Arenella started the Jazz Age Lawn Party 9 years ago, and it was a few phone calls and come out to the island and bring a picnic. I'm going to bring some of my musicians and we're just going to hang out. After a couple of years, he said, would you, do a dance lesson for me, and I would like, can you do some performances? And it grew. Originally, I was just doing a duet with my partner, and then I put 2 couples together and we did some choreographies. And then it grew to 3 couples, and to this year where it's 4 couples. You have such a beautiful lifestyle. Your home is gorgeous. How did you kind of come to this interest? Number one, the jazz. It's always about the music for me. So I grew up listening to everything, but jazz mostly when I got to college. As I learned more about jazz, I went further back and back and back and back and back to my interest in classic jazz. So yes, I was listening to big band and swing music for many years.
Making a living as a dancer, how's that been in New York? I know all of us have very different stories about how we do it. For you, what has been the struggle? What has been the highlights?
When I started, Sarita, I was a teacher. And I had a regular partner, and we worked together professionally. And what we did is, to start the cycle, you go to competitions. to be seen.
Okay.
So we would go around the country to different Lindy Hop competitions to be seen.
That's great.
And that's where we would be asked to go away to these weekend events and teach workshops and perform. And it led to me working in Sweden and Germany, et cetera, around the world. And it was tough. There's a lot of auditions you go on with jobs that you know swing dancers weren't made for, or we'd go on auditions and show our stuff and know it was being ripped off and copied, and then we would never get the call back. And I lived in a cold, freezing apartment in Manhattan, and you know, but you did it. You did what you had to do.
Yeah. If you had advice for a young dancer?
For the young person, if you decide to do it, give it everything, 110%, embrace it, and learn about the music. Don't just think that music is a sidebar to the dance. They're hand in hand.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do it well.
There you go. Thank you so much, Roddy. Awesome.
Thank you.
We are so lucky to have spent so much time with Roddy Caravella, a man who's dedicated his life to his passion. He's learned from the masters and is now here to share with us what he knows about jazz-age social dances. I'm Sarita Lou, and until next time, keep dancing.